Happy Monday, I'm Rob Mack.
Happy Monday, I'm Jez Moye, and welcome to EverTalk Live. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. We are live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. for all things happiness in Hollywood, a little pop culture and positivity, and it is good to be with you today.
It is. How was the weekend, Jez?
It was great, so I'm a little hoarse.
Are you?
Yeah,
Lots of screaming?
Well, last night I had the honor of being the commercial for Craig's Vegan.
Shut up. Love this.
So fun. So after, what was a long week, a couple friends and I met at Craig's, which is our local community Cheers, if you will, but a total celebrity haunt right here in West Hollywood on Friday night. And I ran into my good friend Jamie Anderson, who's been on the show a couple times, award-winning filmmaker, and she said, "You'll never believe it. Craig asked me to shoot the commercial for Craig's Vegan."
That's what I saw on her Insta story.
Yes.
Okay.
And I said, "And you didn't ask me?" She goes, "Well, you have the morning show. I was too afraid to ask you." I said, "I wouldn't miss it for the world, Jamie." She said, "Okay." So last night I was there and
what?
Jamie, and
That's so cool.
Couldn't have been more fun. We had a great time.
That's awesome. Jez, I got to see this commercial. When's this commercial air?
Oh, well, who knows?
Okay.
Who knows? It's Hollywood. It takes the time it takes to put on the edits and, the music and whatever, but we had a really good time.
It's interesting. I think, unless you're actually in the business, it's hard to know how long these things take. Like, I remember the first commercial I did was like an Air deodorant commercial. And literally, an Air deodorant commercial, sat in the back of a taxi cab in Miami in August. It was so hot and it was drenched, so it was like so ironic, right? And literally it probably took, I think we shot that commercial in like 20 hours. And it's only 30 seconds, right? And you're probably, and of that 30 seconds, you might be in 5 seconds, 6 seconds.
Oh, exactly. You'll see like my face, a quick cheers, but that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it takes days sometimes.
Oh, totally, exactly. And then it doesn't air for like a year. And I was like, oh, this is the way entertainment and media works.
I'll never forget it. First commercial I ever did was a Wrigley's commercial. I had just come to Hollywood. I was here on spring break. So I get the big idea. Go on Craigslist. There's got to be a casting. See if you can make a little money while you're here on spring break. Before I had actually moved to LA. And you have to fill out an actor's resume.
Oh yeah, there's a whole thing to fill out.
A whole thing, and you've got to list whether you've ever horseback rode or scuba dived and all these things, right? And so I said I was an intermediate tennis player. And I got cast in a Wrigley's commercial to play tennis.
That's cool, actually. Wrigley's is dope.
But let me tell you, I had exaggerated on said actor's resume, and I was not an intermediate tennis player. Next thing you know, I there and they're like, and the blonde, let's make it. And I was like, oh God, no. No. Happened again with me figure skating.
Shut up. You're kidding. See, and it's interesting.
You can't exaggerate your talent, your abilities. Hollywood will catch you.
I know, that's true, but then you don't book the commercial at all if you don't exaggerate. I mean, it's such a catch-22. It's interesting. I did the same, I actually can swim, pretty well, but I remember doing like all the sandals. Like
advanced swimmer?
Yeah, advanced, like literally. They were like, can you do all these water sports? And I'm like, I can't do any of those water sports. I can swim.
Guy?
I did sandals like
I knew
2 or 3 times a year.
Stop.
Yeah, I did beaches. I did St. Kitts tourism. I did all the Caribbean. It's hilarious. I mean, my goodness. And I think about now all the things that I checked. I checked jet skiing and waterboarding and water skiing and checked everything, of course. But thank goodness I didn't have to do most of it. I only had to do the swing part.
Oh my God.
Right?
So do you like the sandals results?
Oh my gosh, it was the best. I mean, I think, quite frankly, I never realized, I think growing up you think, oh, modeling, acting, it'll be so cool. But it was cool and amazing in different ways than I expected. It wasn't that it was so glamorous. I mean, that was kind of cool, but I did a lot of blue collar modeling, right? So catalog stuff and, resort stuff, which is fantastic because it often pays better.
Oh yeah.
But the best part about it was that you only work for 6 hours, and then you're on the beach most of the day, and even the 6 hours you're working, as a guy, I was in the back often, as a prop.
Oh, I'll never forget it. It's 6 hours though. Or you show up for a runway show at 4 a.m. if you're working in China, in Beijing, and the show isn't until 7 p.m.
Oof.
And I'm like, well, what am I going to do in this room?
Yeah. What did you do all day?
Well, watch Chinese men do push-ups.
Push-ups? Yeah. That's awesome.
Great. I was the token American girl for the Levi show, so I just said, somebody's going to need to get me a Starbucks. I just played the part. I went right into it.
That's hilarious. I remember that. I would read, thank goodness I like books because, there's a lot of downtime, in both acting and modeling. I remember the same thing when I did South Beach on CW. I had my own trailer, so I was really killing it, I thought. No. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, this is so awesome. I'm going to play Paco. And I remember getting that trailer, and I think the call time was at 7 a.m. and I didn't shoot till 6 p.m. and my anxiety was through the roof. I mean, I remember sitting there the whole time. I only had like 2 lines.
Well, you have to sit in a trailer that's like as big as this table.
Yeah, literally, it's tiny.
By yourself, just waiting for somebody to call your name.
Yeah.
Hair and makeup ready.
It's
all
true.
Day.
I look back now though and I think, oh my gosh, that's like an LA apartment right there. the trailer.
Totally, probably
tiny.
Nicer than a lot of apartments.
That's true. No doubt about that.
Oh,
for sure.
Hollywood.
I know, indeed.
So fun. I walked out of that shoot from Craig's, and then this girl in the street stopped me and she goes, were you just in that TV shoot inside? And I said, well, yeah, and you forget how novel it is to people who aren't just living that. She said, can I take a selfie with you? And I said, well, sure, no problem. It was just so fun.
Craig's is a big deal, though. I mean, every time I've been to Craig's, besides, you and Andy, who are the 2 celebrities I most look forward to seeing, I've always seen someone that is recognizable and is a household name there. I mean, right?
Yeah,
and great food, great drinks. Of course, they've got Moët Rosé, which is all you need.
Moët, exactly, a little Moët Rosé. It's because Craig has done such a great job of creating community there.
Yeah.
And you can not go there to see and be seen, but you can go there to truly connect with people.
Yeah.
And some might say it's sceney and, sure, you do you, but the people there know who you are. And they like you, and they remember to ask you how your day was, and they say, I see the same guy sitting in the same place at the bar every Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's a second home.
Absolutely. So today, after the show, I'm going to talk to this eighth grade class of middle school students. And, I was thinking, what was it that I wish I would have known in middle school? What do I wish I would have known when I was younger? And there's so many things, because I think along the way, you receive such bad advice often, and also really great advice.
Right.
And I was wondering that with you, Jez. I think of you as just this little cute 8th, grader, probably with,
cheerleader.
Yeah, cheerleader. There you go. What do you think you wish you would have known in middle school?
I wish I would have known that I was enough, because I tried very hard to be perfect at everything I did, whether it was, in my personal relationships, school, or being a cheerleader. I always felt like I had to try hard.
Yes.
And I exhausted myself trying.
Yeah.
Rather than just being and enjoying who I was.
Oh, I love that. That's just gold. It is more about relaxing, right? I think you can do yourself and the world no greater service than relaxing often while you go about doing what you're doing instead of trying so hard.
I'm still not good at that.
Yeah, because we're programmed for decades. Everybody tells you to try harder, to work harder, and usually it's so that you can make money for them,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Right.
Rewriting that script. So what do you wish you would have known in 8th grade?
Very similar. I mean, honestly, just to believe in myself and to trust myself. I wanted to, I've shared many times, I wanted to be a professional basketball player. And, I was obsessed with watching basketball players. So of course today in LA they're doing the celebration of life for Kobe and Gigi. And I watched Muse, which was this documentary, and it was just interesting. He had to often remind himself to believe in himself. And that was the one thing I think growing up, because I was so dedicated to playing basketball and because I studied all the greats. I mean, I studied all their moves and I broke all the moves down and dissected the whole game. That even at 12 or 13 or 14, I probably had a better understanding and knowledge of the game than a lot of the folks that were coaching me. Right? And I didn't know that at that age, and I just wanted to remain coachable. And it's interesting because I think that's often what led me astray, was my shot was already fine, but I had coaches that were always trying to perfect my form and change my form. And I look now like Steph Curry, one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time, and I had a very similar form, but I changed it so often in order to fit the expectations of these coaches that I had that thought they knew better.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so profound, because I think I can completely relate with that, with friends or seeing mentors in my life who like to give me, their advice with the best of intentions, but really rather than trusting me and knowing with my own intuition and my own gifts and my own abilities and my own strengths to make the decisions that are best for myself, they're trying to redirect me at all times. And you assume that person, like the 8th grade version of Rob, knows better than you.
Yeah.
Well, you're the coach, you're the authority, you're the rich person, you're the famous person, you're the better looking person, so you must know something I don't know.
That's right. Exactly. My brother was sharing, I guess he watched Shark Tank the other night, maybe it was Sunday, and he said, there was somebody that was presenting their business idea, and they were basically making the argument that, hey, we're very coachable. And of course, me being a coach, I love coachable people. I always want to remain coachable. But Mark Cuban basically, spoke up and said, that's your problem right there. You're too coachable, right?
Wow.
You listen to too many opinions. You have too many voices in your head, and it's sort of distracting you from your own inner knowing and inner guidance. And so belief in yourself is just huge. The other thing I'd say is that, to stop waiting for someone to come along and save you, right? From whatever it is in your life. I think that's a little bit seductive. And the entertainment business can really seduce you into believing that there's somebody out there that's going to save you.
Oh, there's an agent, there's a casting director, there's somebody that's going to give you the chance that's going to change your life and that will save you from whatever current circumstances. And that's what is the boulevard of broken dreams.
Yes.
That's what will break you in this town.
Exactly. It prevents you from actually fully committing to what you're doing and putting your best foot forward. And, you're going to be wrong, and you should be wrong, and you want to fail so that you can learn and grow. But yeah.
But if your why is for that to change your life, to save you, it won't.
Yeah.
And you inevitably will fail.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
regardless of whatever success you apparently achieve, those are when those dreams are empty.
Totally. I mean, and the great thing is, people come along, and so 2 things there, and I love what you're saying there, Jess, because once you let go of that and you fully commit to what you feel is right, and you just move forward knowing that, hey, I'm just going to do the best I can, I'll figure it out as I go along. Often what happens then, people want to join you in that journey, or all of a sudden they want to contribute, right?
Right.
And the other thing is that those people that contribute, and sometimes it's big people, like I've met people in my life that are, they're just incredible. They're so extraordinarily successful. They're so helpful. And oftentimes you think, okay, now I've done this thing where I've committed to this thing, and I'm going to let this other person be a part of this journey or contribute in some meaningful way. And then you sometimes get drawn back into believing that it's, again, this thing or this person that's going to be the key to your success. So they let go of the thing that you were initially so committed to. So it's something you have to continuously remind yourself of, I think.
Oh, completely.
Right? Yeah.
And stay rooted and stay grounded. So how do you stay rooted and stay grounded, especially in this town?
Yeah.
Hollywood?
Well, I mostly befriend and read lots of dead authors, right? That's my go-to, is that I try to stay committed to, higher, more transcendental or timeless wisdom, things that I know will bring me peace and happiness regardless of whether or not I'm succeeding in the world, right? So that, for me, is my North Star, is whether it's reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius or Joe Goldsmith or whatever. I have these sort of authors that I always stick to and read and listen to and learn from that help to remind me of what's truly important. So that's the first piece. And then I think, in addition to that, it's probably spending the rest of my day just reminding myself of that. Because I think most of the world, and especially if you're on social media or if you listen to the news or whatever, or even your own friends who are very well-intentioned, they mostly get sucked into this conditioning and programming that is so unhealthy and so unhappy and leads to such a difficult and challenging life experience, and it doesn't have to be. Make sense?
It doesn't have to be. We're really excited to continue the conversation with our station. We'll be right back with more. And I'm Jessamine Moyer. This is EverTalk Live, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. in the Ever Media Studios for a little Hollywood and happiness, positivity, and pop culture. On Apple TV and Roku via the EverTalk app, and of course, streaming live on all socials.
I've got so much love in my life, and then I get to do this with you every single day. I mean, it's incredible.
If you have a dream, do not let anything stop you.
You can have all the money or all the success in the world, but if you don't have peace, it's all worthless, really, right?
Happiness from the inside out. Please be sure, if you haven't read this book,
that's sweet.
You've got to.
I love
what we do.
I do too, Jess.
Miracles. I'd like my life to be an example that miracles exist. I am just so grateful that we get to be a part of this journey together, Rob, whether it's 4 a.m. texting up peanut butter and jellies or coming to you live Monday through Friday every 9 a.m. You know when you're going to see that, Eddie?
Yes.
When we're holding it in our own hands, Rob, for Best Digital Daytime Talk Show.
What makes people lucky, actually lucky, is that they believe they're lucky.
Thank you for being my mentor, Rob.
Likewise.
He didn't even know it.
True.
I'm out all the time. I'm everywhere. I'm drinking my wine. I'm doing the show. I'm stepping and repeating on some kind of red carpet. I had a little too much. I said, 1 drink Jeslyn. 1 drink Jeslyn. 2 tequila Jeslyn. 2 tequila Jeslyn.
1 drink Jess.
Is this 1 drink Jeslyn? I hope you're proud, Rob.
I'm very proud of you, actually. I don't know how you have the hair is killing it today.
Oh. Thank you. Clearly, we have no fun around here. It's a thing. Thought of the day. Light, love, and magic. Oh, I do it fun. It was wild. Abso-freaking-lutely. Oh my God. Do you know we're still on live, Rob? Right now.
You gotta be kidding.
Talking to my angels.
pleasure every day to get to connect with you and work with you. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful for you. We love you, Romac. There isn't a man or woman who hasn't met you and said you're the best dressed person in Los Angeles and the happiest guy we know. It's an honor to be able to do the show with you.
That.
Welcome back to EverTalk Live. We are here with the chief troublemaker and innovation junkie herself, Shelly Zales. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
We're so excited to have you.
Thank you.
Just witnessing those few highlight moments from those incredible events, you are so inspirational, Shelly, and you are so driven. What is your mission with the Female Quotient?
Well, you know, what's really amazing to me is, you know, I always say, and you talked about this before, but when you love what you do, it's called passion. When you don't, it's called stress. And when you follow your heart, you know, you can think about things in your head, but then you rationalize, you justify. But if you follow your heart, and now I understand what that means, these heartbeat moments, you are really pushing forward with purpose, with passion, and that's when change happens. And so many times people tell you, you can do this, you can't do that. Who are they to tell you that? When you find your purpose, you just go all the way. And you know, I am the chief troublemaker. I've broken all the rules in corporate America that made no sense for me so that I could be a mother, I could be a wife, I could be a community leader, I could be a girlfriend, I could be a great daughter, I could be a great sister, and I could be a great CEO. And in order to do all that, you know, you've got to follow your own path because no one is going to make your bed for you.
Hashtag goals.
Right?
Right there.
You're so passionate, so purpose-driven, and I love that. And it's clearly, you know, embodied in both you and your message. For those people that are struggling a little bit to find their passion or find their purpose, and they can't really hear their heart, what do you recommend?
Well, I don't think you hear a heart, you feel a heart. And so I think that it's one of those moments where you, ba-boom, ba-boom, you'll always know what you don't want to do. You got to try things and see what sticks. And that moment you wake up, you know the quote, which is, tell me something I may not remember it, teach me something I might learn, but make me feel something, I will remember it forever. And so once you feel that moment, give it everything you got. You know, there's so many people that stand back, they wait, they watch, they're looking for permission. Don't look for permission. Take it. Don't apologize. Own it. Sorry, not sorry. And I think these are really important things to remember. And, you know, when you talked about perfection, perfection doesn't exist. Perfect people are not real. Real people are not perfect.
Amen.
Think about that. And perfection is so boring. I mean, who wants to have perfect friends? It's just, you know, way too over the top.
So take us back to the moment you decided, I'm going to really move forward with the Female Quotient, the Girls Lounge. What was that for you?
You know, I was the only female CEO, top 25 my entire career. I was in the business of market research. So if you've ever taken one of those horrible surveys on the internet, I'm the mother of that invention. Sorry, not sorry. I did quite well with that. And I created the largest, fastest growing research company in the world. But I knew I thought very differently. You know, I had food in meetings and flowers. And, you know, one of the rules of the road, you know, I created the uncorporate rules. You know, rules that never made sense for me rising the ranks and being able to, quote unquote, do it all. I wanted to do it all my way. And I also wanted to become the new rule, not always be the exception. And I've been told my whole life that, you know, there's no room for emotion in the boardroom. My greatest strength are the soft powers. I'm emotional, I'm passionate, I'm caring, I'm nurturing, I'm empathetic. Those to me are the greatest characteristics of leadership today, but I was never known for those, or I was never validated for those. And so when I was told there's no room for emotion in the boardroom, what do? You have two options. Say you're right, or do what I did, which was say you are terribly wrong, and do a speech for thousands of people saying bring emotion to the boardroom. make that the new thing. Because if we don't talk about it, we keep going in circles with what is happening, change will certainly not happen. And then it was this moment where I wanted to go to CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. I heard there was over 150,000 people, less than 3% were women, and it's intimidating. You know, I was a big-time CEO, well-known in market research. Put me in any room, I'll know everyone. Put me in a tech room, I knew no one. And so what do you do when you're afraid? You call your girlfriends. I called my girlfriends and said, why don't you go with me and let's walk the floor. And if you know other women, invite them. 24 hours later, 50 women showed up. And two remarkable things happened. One, every guy's head turned. Like, where did you women come from? And that's when I coined the phrase, power of the pack. A woman alone has power. Collectively, we have impact. It was no longer an invisible moment. It was no longer a lonely moment. It was a, wow, this feeling of just confidence, which was the second thing. I was surrounded by people just like me, not hiding who we were, not apologizing, not transforming to the rules that made no sense, but owning our greatest strengths, realizing that our differences are our greatest strength. And that's when I coined the phrase, confidence is beautiful. So if there was a boys' club, now there's a girls' lounge, opposite a boy-girl, opposite a club lounge. The girls' lounge has grown to over 50,000 corporate women strong. We now call it the Equality Lounge. But in the beginning, women were like, we're not girls. I said, have you ever heard of a man object to being a boy in the boys' club? Why are we creating our own double standards, right? So that's how it evolved.
So interesting to me. I think, you know, first of all, that you're been so positively disruptive. I love that. But you know, there are a lot of other things here that you do so extraordinarily well, including like being cognitively agile and emotionally regulating, and sort of embracing your emotional intelligence, but from like a positive intelligence and positive communication perspective. Like, how did you learn how to do that? How to sort of be sort of strategic and positive and constructive in the way that you disrupt things? Because I think a lot of people want to break rules, but then they just cause problems for themselves. You didn't do that.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
You know, thank you. You know, I think that I create things versus disrupt things, because if you put people in the negative and in the defense, you know, then no one will move forward. You know, you have to think about positive, proactive solutions for change. One of the things that is so disturbing in our industry, I just came from the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland with world leaders, and they published a report on 144 countries on gender equality. And what they found, the United States 3 years ago was number 28 out of 144. Last year it was 55. So we are going backwards. And so
that's so disheartening.
It's disheartening, especially when you hear the numbers that it'll take over 108 years to realize gender parity in the C-suite.
And it's 2020.
2020, the 100-year anniversary of women's rights to vote. And it says it'll take 257 years, up from 202 years last year, to create economic gender parity. So for equal pay, we have to wait 257 years.
Why the regression? Why are we regressing?
Because it's back to your disruption. We can talk about the problems, we can complain about the problems, or we can shut the door and open a new one. Equal pay for equal work. It's not that complicated, you know, and if we think about all of these biases, I always say equality is a choice, unconscious bias is an excuse. How many more times do we want to hear about implicit bias? Oh, it was unconscious. If you use the word unconscious, you are conscious. So once aware, you have a choice. Do you want to close it or not? And I think it was Yogi Berra, he talks about trying. There's no such thing as trying.
Yes.
Try to pick that up.
You either do or you don't.
You just do it.
You either do it or you don't. So if we keep trying to catch up, legacy will definitely run faster than reality, and we'll keep widening the gap. So you get to the point where you say, we're not going to look at what's wrong. We're not righting the wrong. It was fine then, but it's not okay today. So how do we right forward with positivity, with proactivity, with solutions for change, and most importantly, measurement for accountability? Not to point fingers, you're good, you're bad. For each of us to take responsibility for change. It's not that hard.
It really isn't. What advice do you have for women who might not feel like they have that pack, especially when they're trying to make change and create new space for them to be the leaders they need to be within their own corporate structure or within their family or culture in general?
First of all, there are so many, get a support system, because there is power in the pack. There is no doubt about that. And, you know, Madeleine Albright says women that don't support other women deserve a place in hell. We say that women that support other women deserve a place in heaven. And so find a pack. And there are plenty of people that are out there, but it really does start, and you talked about this, it starts within. It starts within yourself. And if you believe in yourself, others will. And so I think it's believe in yourself. You know, that whole, it's not what you look like on the outside, it's how you feel on the inside. Confidence is beautiful. So I think it begins with you.
Thank you for leading the way, Shelley.
Absolutely.
We so deeply appreciate it. Please tell everyone where they can find and follow you and learn more about the Female Quotient.
Thank you. So www.femalequotient.com. Also, you can follow Shelley Zalis, you can follow Female Quotient, and join the pack.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more on EverTalk Live. Today is Courtney Friel, and I am so excited to welcome you back after that incredible book tour.
Thank you. Well,
congratulations.
I have a soft spot for you guys here because I get to host Keeping It Friel here.
It's been such an honor to witness those interviews and those conversations and celebrate your book. Congratulations, #1 in multiple categories on Amazon.
It's no small feat.
Oh, absolutely.
I really hope that it's helping people. That was the intention, and I'm starting to get messages from people who have read it.
So through the course of your sobriety, I'm very curious, at what point did you decide to make it so public and to put it in this book?
I didn't put it out there until I had 6 years. I had always talked about it with my friends and family, but I hadn't put it on my Instagram page. And then once I did, the reaction has been really positive. I do get some people that are like, I don't understand, you're not like that anymore, so why do you keep wearing sober shirts and telling us about it? It's like, duh, have you not heard of maybe wanting to help someone?
Right.
Because that's the beauty of Instagram, because a lot of people are never going to go to rehab or step a foot in a 12-step program, but they will be at home in misery looking for some sort of assistance online, and maybe they'll stumble across the podcast, or they can buy the book and read it in the privacy of their own home.
Yeah, sometimes I find the people that are most reactive are the ones that need it the most, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, people that bug you about why you're not drinking, like I used to do to people who were drinking, they tend to be the ones that have the issues.
So take us back there. Reporter Friel, the alter ego where this began for you.
This began with me being shy and bullied. And when I was 15 years old and I had my first drink, I realized that it brought me out of my shell, and also it numbed the pain of not being liked by people. So then it just developed into a party career, but cocaine was involved, and towards the end of the 15-year shenanigans, pills, Ambien, Adderall, and Xanax were in the mix too. And there was just not a time that I could have one drink and be a normal drinker. It was always like, I want cocaine, the second alcohol touches my lips, and then I want to be up all night until the sun comes up, and then super depressed. And it was a hot mess, and I just had this feeling that I was going to be either arrested for buying cocaine and fired from my job, or I was gonna die in my sleep from the concoction of pills and drugs that were in my system. And then I ultimately ended up being interventioned with 7 people surrounding my bed, so they kind of forced me into rehab.
But I mean, you kept it so real in this book. I mean, it is so authentic and so raw, Courtney.
I'm very vulnerable. But see, here's the thing, like, you have to put that stuff in there for people to relate to you. Like, if I was just gonna be like, yeah, I have 10 years sober now, and didn't say what it was like, why would people even believe me that I ever had a problem to begin with?
But I mean, how did you really balance that? It's almost like you were living a double life. I mean, from the outside, you're star of Fox News, you've got the husband, you've got it all, but you were also really struggling.
I think there's a lot of functioning alcoholics and addicts in every profession. There's people who take their job really seriously, because that was my entire life. Before I had kids, I just wanted to do my news career, but I was a work hard, play hard person. So I never went to work drunk, although I think I was still drunk from the night before several times trying to host shows. But when I was off the clock, then it was time to party.
Wow. So when the intervention happened, talk to us a little bit about that. Like, was that insanely uncomfortable? And
yeah, so my now ex-husband came up to the bed, and see, my friends that night before, they were not able to get me off the floor. I was completely passed out. They couldn't wake me up. I had taken a bunch of pills, not trying to hurt myself or anything, but was completely wasted on top of it. So they were concerned, but my ex came up first and was like, you need to go to a rehab, inpatient, or we're getting divorced. And I was like, like, F you, whatever. And then he went downstairs and brought the 7 people around my bed, and they were all like, look, you need to take some time for yourself. And hey, Court, remember how you used to steal my Ritalin and snort it? Like, it was from kind of all walks of life, my friends. And so they just convinced me to go. And I knew in that moment too that I deserved more for my life. I had more to contribute, and that doing that would be the best thing for me. So at least I had enough functioning brain cells to know that in that moment.
Wow.
And then one day at a time, now I have over 10 years, and I love it. And that's why I wanted to write the book too, because people think that sobriety is gonna suck and you're never gonna have fun again. And then you can have fun. So I wanted to kind of walk people through all of the challenges and what it's like. And
once you became sober and really had to kind of discover yourself, right?
Yes.
What did you learn that surprised you?
Well, for one, they say you stay the same age as the age of your first drink. So in a way, I was acting like a 15-year-old for 15 years. And so I really had to grow up and mature and learn how to do things without the numbing out or the protection of this like confidence giver. So it did take me a while to like go dancing again and feel comfortable being who I was. But ultimately I ended up being able to be that outgoing person that alcohol made me in the first place.
What got
the alcohol?
What got you there though?
Being outgoing and fun and all that. That's what the booze did initially. And then, I don't know, I think that you really become like a badass when you see yourself getting through things and you're surviving through things where you would have wanted to drink, and when you don't drink and you get through them, like they call it living life on life's terms, then you become proud of who you are. So I think little by little, just building the confidence who I was without alcohol, I became, I'm like, whatever. And then also having kids too, because like once you've like, popped one out in front of a lot of people, and then you're like, I made a human, I'm a superwoman.
Well, it was interesting though to read your journey and know that you tried everything. You went trapezing. You did
I had an eat, pray, love moment for sure. Yeah, because I also got divorced in sobriety. I dealt with these like chronic headaches. I deal with these awful stories that I cover for my work. I was trying to navigate the dating world in Los Angeles sober. So lots of, career things that were happening, and I was able to get through them, but I did have to find other ways to cope, and I had to learn how to meditate and do yoga and all of these, like finding little natural highs here and there. Trapezing's one of them, traveling's another one.
That's fantastic. So how's your life sort of as a reporter changed and shifted and improved as well?
I've been able to just mellow out and not take on the people's pain. Like that was a big issue for me since I sort of have a empath personality. So I would cover these stories and just get really, really sad. But I would recognize like, hey, this is a time where I would have wanted to come home and drink and numb out. And so then I just go for a walk on the beach, or I meditate in the closet, in the green room closet at work, or in the live truck, whatever I have to do. And meditation is my #1 tool in sobriety.
Love that. Yeah.
And you've got a great supporter, your new fiance.
Yes, he is sober as well. So that all worked out. And my kids they're 7 and 9. They're a huge blessing in my sobriety, and they keep me sober, and I want to be present for them. So life is great. It really, really is.
Overall,
that's why I wanted to pass along the message.
For that. What has been the most rewarding thing for you in your sobriety, do you think?
That's a great question. I think just every year that I get is a reward. I mean, that's why we celebrate it as a birthday. I now have 2 birthdays. I have a belly button birthday, which is coming up, and I'm turning 40. And then there is the September 9th birthday, because my sobriety date is 09/09/09.
Oh, wow.
So now I've hit double digits. And that birthday is more important to me than my natural belly button birthday. Because it's just, why? Just because I take my sobriety so seriously and I cherish it so much. And it really has given me this superpower. I feel like I've stumbled across this gem to life, which I never was planning on having. And the same happens when you have children too. You get that like, wow, I made something. I baked something in my belly, and it can walk and talk and do all this.
So interesting, because it really is your own rebirth too.
I never would have had kids if I hadn't have gotten sober. So that I always say that was a blessing for me, because I didn't want kids. I was all career. And then right when I came out of rehab, my career kind of like stalled too. So it was extra hard because I didn't have my partying and my career.
I'm very curious though, how has sobriety affected your parenting? And are you having those conversations with your kids earlier than normal?
Yes, so they know that mommy hasn't had any alcohol in 10 years. Like each birthday, they know that. They were a part of my 10-year anniversary, and they know that their future stepdad doesn't drink either. And I'm not going to be like crazy about it. Like I think that just by leading a good example for them will hopefully help. There's like statistics that people who are in recovery, when they have children, like their children, if they turn into alcoholics, they have that gene, they find themselves getting help way earlier than someone who didn't.
That's
so
really
I know so many people who are sober that also have their kids that are sober too.
It's so encouraging, right?
Yeah, I mean, you because I'm sure they could read the book one day and be like, well, Mom, you tried that and everything. And I knew that going into writing the book. And people have asked me, like, why would you put all that stuff for your kids to read one day? And it's like, first of all, those kids know, like, they wouldn't even be on this planet if Mommy didn't stop drinking. Right. And Mommy's been a good mommy because she's been like 100% present for them the whole time. And Mommy's a badass because she put it out there to help other people.
Yes,
she
absolutely.
Is a badass.
She is.
Thank you, Courtney. We appreciate
Thank you
so much. Please tell everyone where they can find and follow you. And of course,
I'm at Courtney Friel on all the socials, and then you can watch my Keeping It Friel Conversations on Recovery podcast right here on EverTalk TV.
Awesome. And they can get the book where?
Amazon.
There it is.
And soon to be Audible.
Ooh, keep it a bestseller, everybody, and stay tuned. We'll be back with more on EverTalk Live.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to EverTalk Live here on Thursday. I'm so inspired today. My goodness, I am so inspired.
We have incredible guests. Courtney Friel, I truly admire the way she's able to just hold her composure and share the good and the bad news with the city of Los Angeles, with the world, is incredible. And that she was so vulnerable in keeping it 100 totally Friel in her book.
Absolutely. I mean, my brother worked as an anchor for a little while, and he said that the news stories that he had to report on every day, day after day, was so exhausting. Just that in of itself is a lot to process and deal with. On top of that, when you've got a family and we've been through the things that Courtney's been through, and you've come out so triumphant, you've written a great book about it. It's just, to me, like goals, right? Like life goals. Amazing.
Absolutely, life goals. Well, we've got a great show for you tomorrow. We will be live at 9. In the meantime, of course, be sure to check out EverTalk on Apple TV and Roku.
That's right. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day on purpose.
Yes.